Okay, if everybody could turn on their microphones. Is 102.
So this is a quorum, correct? 4 of us?
The quorum.
All right, good. I'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. If you can do the roll call, Jenna?
Yes. Ray,
Yes.
Becker,
Present.
Lisa,
Present.
and Chet.
Here. We can hear a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I also need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I already did a bunch earlier this week.
So Jenna, do you have anything from a staff report standpoint?
No, I don't believe I do.
Okay. I presume we've all taken a look at the site this time or previously, I'm sure. And I also assume that there's no conflict of interest from anybody, ex parte disclosures. Okay, we might just as well jump to the public hearing. Now, do you want to,
I would like them to go first.
Okay.
Then I'll speak and then we can open the public hearing. Hmm.
The reason why I bring that up is last time, after I went, there was a lot of rebuttals from you or staff, I'm not sure how it was presented. And then I was not able to speak after that. So I'm hoping if there's time for that, I'm not sure how, it sounds like you're managing this meeting, how that would work.
Is everybody all comfortable with doing it a bit different?
if you're comfortable with it, I'm fine with it.
So are we adjusting the agenda then?
No, it's
Oh.
just the process that we generally do
Right.
it.
I see staff report. I don't see,
No, this is down the way to the
This
public
is
hearing portion.
my report, my memo summary.
did I just not hear him say he wanted to go first?
No, he wants her to go first.
Yeah, it's staff report and then we go to site inspection, conflict and public hearing.
Did that already?
Yeah, the
We're on
staff
public
report is just like a general report if I have anything to talk about.
Okay,
Now I'm going to start by, generally we have the applicant begin the conversation for the variance request. But in this case, they've asked if I would go first, which I'm okay with.
up to the chair.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So as you may be aware of, 4 of you were here last time, but the applicant previously applied at the March 17th ZBA meeting for a variance for 148.5 square foot sign where 42 square feet is allowed. It was denied, the ZBA denied it 3-1. The reasons included in the motion to deny were that the request didn't meet the extraordinary circumstance and relationship to adjacent uses variance criteria. While the current variance request for today is smaller than that at 89 square feet, where the 42 square feet is permitted. And the colors have been adjusted. And the sign is now proposed in the space under the parapet instead of on top of it. The variance request, as you all know from training, must still meet all 6 variance criteria per the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act. And staff again contends that it does not, as is discussed in our memo. I'll just kind of jump to the very end. I summed everything up in a conclusion for you. We do not find that there is a practical difficulty, or at least not a true practical difficulty. I think it's more of a perceived inconvenience. That the applicant states in their narrative that the sign serves as their most effective and affordable form of advertisement. And contends that a 42 square foot sign setback from the street equates to less business. This is a perception, however, not a fact. And therefore it's not really determined as a practical difficulty. The criteria explicitly states that a practical difficulty cannot be just a mere inconvenience, and staff would contend that this is more of an inconvenience or a perceived inconvenience, if you will. Substantial justice, there needs to be a practical difficulty in order for it to meet the substantial justice criteria. Additionally, the only way that substantial justice would be actually provided to the other property owners in the district is for the zoning ordinance to allow for larger signs for all shopping center units or for any building that is set back. The ZBA, instead of granting a variance, in my opinion and staff's opinion, it would be more appropriate for the ZBA to recommend that planning commission discuss amending the zoning ordinance instead of granting a variance that would not meet this and other criteria and would just benefit this one applicant rather than potentially additional applicants. An extraordinary circumstance. There's not an extraordinary circumstance here since all of the other businesses are also set back from the street in the shopping center. The zoning ordinance sign standards take unit sizes into consideration by allowing for 1 square foot of signage per 1 linear foot of building frontage. As such, display Dexter would be permitted a 42 square foot sign because its frontage is larger than 42 feet. And then the smaller units in the shopping center are allowed for smaller, are only allowed smaller signage in relationship to their sizes. And this is in response to one of the points in the narrative that the applicants were trying to make, that because they have a larger storefront, they should be allowed a larger sign, which in fact they are allowed a larger sign within the zoning ordinance standard limits. And then finally, the relationship to adjacent land uses. This criterion explicitly states that the master plan shall be considered in this evaluation. The reason for this is because a master plan, as you know, provides the visions, goals, and objectives for areas within the city that may differ from the existing character. The city's current 2019 master plan provides these objectives for the retrofit of Dexter Ann Arbor Road to improve the aesthetics of it as a gateway into the city and provide a better transition from township to downtown. Large signage that competes for attention is a characteristic of a commercial highway, not that of a traditional neighborhood, commercial and residential main street that the city envisions for this corridor, which is described in the master plan. One other thing I just would like to add is in front of you, you have a packet, a supplement packet. These are the letters that were sent to you earlier this morning as well. And they're also posted on the website now. I'll let you peruse them at your convenience. However, one thing that I just wanted to point out that you may or may not have had a chance to look at yet. But is this letter from the applicant's sign company, W4 Signs. They speak about this United States Sign Council guidelines. I just wanted to point out that this is a nonprofit organization based out of Philadelphia. It's not, it's not a US. It's called the United States Sign Council. However, it's not, federal or anything. Company. They also do explain in their, about section on their website, that they're something to the effect of that they're in tuned with, what sign businesses need. So it sounds like there might be some conflict of interest in terms of what their guidelines are, and what the signage companies are looking for. And while there may be, studies out there, these are also all college level studies, university level. While there may be studies out there that links traffic analysis to signage, which is what this letter is making the point of. I would say that there's also plenty of studies, planning studies out there that speak to the necessity for smaller signs, for more aesthetic looking signs, that therefore create a commercial highway. And I would also make the point here that there have not been any accidents to our knowledge on this corridor due to someone not being able to see a sign, business sign. With that, does anyone have any preliminary questions for me, or would you like to turn it over to the applicant?
Yeah, I might have missed it in here, but they will also be allowed a sign on the other side, closer to the street, correct?
That is correct.
And what size is that? Same 42 square feet or no?
So it's 42 square feet each side of the sign, 6 feet high. And in this circumstance, there would only be 2 tenants on it, them and whomever comes into the space at the corner.
Okay. Thanks. Anybody else? Then the applicant. Yeah.
Read it, move it to your.
And then are you able to do that?
Yes.
I think, Lisa was the only one who may not have seen it last time.
You introduce yourself and address.
Hi, my name's Jason Lee. And I'm the applicant on behalf of Just Play.
Sorry, just one moment, I'm just trying to get it to go to fence mode. There you go.
So hello, everybody. Again, my name is Jason Lee. I'm applying on behalf of Just Play for the sign variance. Everyone other than Lisa, I believe, has seen this presentation. A lot of it is much the same. But for Lisa, I will kind of go through it again.
Oh,
So here's a more color-coded visual of the sign. For all of you who saw it last time, obviously it's a pretty significant change. We took all your feedback that you gave, lowering it to the white facade in line with every other business there, and then making it more monotone so it's not as on the eye that we kind of got the feedback from last time. So if we, excuse me, if we can go to the next slide. So For the practical difficulties and kind of in line with what Jenna was saying, or in the letter that Jenna was discussing. This is just taking a visual of the picture standing on the sidewalk from Dexter Ann Arbor Road. This is the current signage that Noble Appliance has along this frontage. With the setback, with the size, I do believe it is a practical difficulty of seeing it. I don't believe it is a mere inconvenience or opinion of inconvenience. I do believe that over the years, and looking at these studies, that it is small for a building with almost 100 or 200 square feet or 200 feet of frontage. To look for a sign that is only 20 feet is very, very hard, whether you might have vision problems driving at 40 miles an hour, looking directly to your left or directly to your right across maybe a passenger. I do believe those present for an everyday driver practical difficulties. We can go to the next slide. So again, here's where it currently looks. This was the one on your left is a photo that we took very recently, just showcasing this is directly in front of the store. And then kind of set back again, showing you what you would see if you were in a standing position on the sidewalk. Go to the next slide. So a little bit more about the space itself. I understand that every tenant is allowed up to 42 square feet of signage. So the Dexter Crossing side, the Dexter Crossing Michigan LLC operates, according to CoStar, about 68,000 total square feet. And they currently have 23 leases. And then the Just Play building, which we're going to take about 25,000 square feet. BJ Dexter operates about 43,000 square feet. Next slide.
Just to clarify, not everybody is allowed 42 square feet. It's 1 square feet per 1 linear foot.
Which I will show that many tenants are not following that rule.
They were following it when they applied. Since the ordinance has changed, that's of no matter. We're looking at the ordinance now, not what it was.
Correct. No, I understand that, but the signage, I guess in this case with the practical difficulty showing, most, again, according to CoStar, we asked our realtor to pull this information. The tenancies operated by Dexter Crossing Michigan LLC range from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet. The largest outlier is actually Dollar Tree. Their building is 10,581 square feet. And just kind of showing there's semblance of size that our building kind of being an anchor store from the original development, what we're kind of competing against, or in some of the difficulties that we see that our building inherently has. The next slide, please. So kind of going to the substantial justice portion of this. If we're reading it from the standpoint that substantial justice would only be granted if other people can apply for larger sign variances, in the zoning ordinance, there's an alternative to grant a lesser variance that would give substantial relief to the property owner or the business owner. And I believe if we look at it from that point of view, we can say a lesser variance, which I am now applying for a lesser sign size, is that it would provide us relief to be more in line with the other businesses there. That when we look at their signs, again, not to the new ordinances, but their signs are larger than the 42 square feet. Yes, they are from before, they are from previous years and previous ordinances, but this would allow us to be more in line with what they currently are. If we look at it from the aspect of substantial justice to other businesses, we do believe that we will bring a lot of business to the restaurants there. We would bring a lot of business to the surrounding community, and as a gateway quarter to Dexter, having a successful business, having a business that people know is there, is not only going to bring it to our district here at Dexter Crossing, well, throughout all of downtown. And if you can go to the next slide. So this was mainly for kind of everyone else to see. The middle one is the one we are applying for. The other colors were just what we did last time to kind of show, compare and contrast what we did apply for originally. Kind of bring that color schematic down and keep it more monotone and more in line with the district itself and kind of the neighborhood feel without being so bright.
I don't know, the ordinance doesn't say anything about colors, and I like your bright colors.
Well, it kind of contrasts with Ivy rehabs, so, but, Jen, if we can go to the next slide. As I think Jenna kind of glanced over that, with their sign, there's no public safety and, welfare concerns. Go next slide. So this is, I'm sure all of you are aware, with the history of this particular building. There's Country Market, then there was Noble Appliance. And actually one of the respondents who emailed Jenna more so of enforcing ordinances, I actually agree with them that this district, this particular parcel, this lot has definitely been an eyesore for Dexter, for the residents who drive past it, or for the people who drive through Dexter. And the first thing that they see is essentially an abandoned building, a non-operating business, whether that was Country Market trying to sell it for 3 or 4 years, whether that was Noble being non-operating for 2 or 3 years. And so we believe with this sign, we are going into an extraordinary circumstance where this building is just bad. There's no positives around it, and we want to come in and stay for many, many years. We have invested a lot of our personal funds into this and our time into this, and we are here to stay. And so given the history of this, we believe we've been kind of given something a little bit rough, but we want to make it better. We want to make Dexter, the gateway corridor, as we want to be that gateway corridor into Dexter, into downtown. So if we can go to the next slide. Again, this is kind of just showing you what Country Market was before. Even their sign was, again, different ordinances, but their sign, as you can see, is much greater.
Wasn't it 2 buildings though?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't it 2 buildings? Country Market? You only took half of them, right? So, there's 2 buildings and.
Well, Noble Appliance took the whole building. I'm just, I guess, showing like what Country Market was and then what Noble Appliance was allowed to do in the current, and then kind of again comparing and contrasting with Bush's. Again, I understand Bush's was a different time, but just showing kind of the extraordinary circumstances that any new business would have to kind of compete with or contend with, and when it comes to signage. And so these are just, again, these are just visuals. That Country Market was actually pulled, I believe, from 2017. I think that's when, like November 2017, when they announced their closure. So you can go to the next slide. In relation, kind of going back to the substantial justice or substantial relief from our end, and I showed this last time, we did go and measure other tenancies, other businesses there in the district, to kind of see how their signs lined up with ours and sizes. This is just one example of Dollar Tree, when we just count the spaces of the boxes. Our Noble Appliance and our stock building is measured at 42 square feet. And this is just showing that signage size does matter, whether they're following the rules or not. They are willing to go above and beyond to try to get a larger sign. And it is very important for businesses to have those signs or sign sizes. Next slide, please. And this is just one more. Again, if you go and measured Ivy Rehab, which is only operating about 4,000 square feet, there you can see that they are again above and beyond the 42 square foot allowed. And then we go next slide. Again, I don't think Jenna mentioned this, but we had talked about this last time. There's no safety hazard with a sign variance. So next one. So with my new, or with our new variance request, this time around, I do believe this does again follow, it does meet the relationship with the adjacent land uses. We have lowered the sign placement instead of in the parapet. And we have made, again, the colors more monotone, still playful and kiddish, but more monotone where it falls in line with the other businesses, signs in the business district. And I think that was really it, as far as, I think there's one more. There might be one more slide.
That's it.
That's it, okay. Yeah, I think that was really it. We do believe that with this business that's going in there, it is gonna fall in line with the adjacent land use, the neighborhood, the community, all the kids around, the growing Dexter population. So we hope to, like I said, we hope to be here long term. We really do. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It depends, I mean, I would sit for now, and if they have questions, then you can come up.
Shall we open the public hearing first, or should we?
Yeah.
Okay. 7:28, so we'll open the public hearing at 7:28. I don't see anybody online. And no one in the audience, obviously, I don't think, who have comments, so.
So I'll just state that we did receive some email comments. 2 were from residents. Both stating that they were not in support of the variance. And then, as you saw in your packet, also the letter from W4 Signs. And then the applicant also provided 2 older emails that were received. One from Judd's Pizza and one from Cella's, that were in support of their variance, the previous variance request.
So I will open it up for comment.
Actually, first you should close the public hearing.
Okay. I told you, you need to guide me in this. We'll close the public hearing at 7:29 and open up discussion for those of us here, those of us on the Board of Appeals. Anybody wanna?
Well, I feel like I like everything that he has to say. All of these things make sense to me, but there's this pesky rule. And so I'm kind of on the suggestion that the planning commission should discuss amending it. As a representative of the planning commission, do you have any thoughts, Chet?
Immediately?
I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, no, I tend to agree because at the last meeting, I voiced my sympathy with this, but in retrospect, that wasn't for me. I know it encouraged the applicant to proceed with another one, but the point is, and it's well taken, that really this needs to go to the planning commission to amend, if we feel it's important. And I kind of do, to amend the sign ordinance.
Yeah, I mean, with all of the things that he says, I just think that they're valid, but we're here to say whether we can make an exception to the rule, and I don't think we can, because everybody else will then come and want an exception to that rule. And the planning commission has some goal with what they're doing.
It would be interesting when this goes to planning commission to see how much support modifying the ordinance, the sign ordinance. I think in the past, the planning commission has been reluctant to do that. They don't want big old signs, but I think, in fact, the criteria that was submitted here as one of these letters has some pretty interesting information in it relative to how it could be.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
think that's a good argument to take to the planning commission.
Yeah,
And maybe what they could change in the rule would be something like they can have 1 foot for every foot of frontage and go beyond 42, because what do they got? What is it? You got a couple 100 feet, right?
So, yeah, so the whole building measures, I think, like, for the architect, it's like 220 lineal feet. And then our portion is almost, like, I think it's like 125 or something like on our portion. I guess for the planning commission, I can understand how it might be difficult for some tenants or not as deep
Yeah.
as well. And then
Yeah.
longer could be huge.
I mean, it's not for us to make the rules, it's for us to decide whether to give exceptions to the rules.
right.
But, you know, just because we think maybe this rule isn't all that, doesn't mean that we don't have to enforce it.
That's what you,
Yeah.
Lisa.
It's funny, I pulled up Google Maps of the address and it still has Noble Appliance, and if you look at that, you can't see the sign because of the little trees.
And I'd
So-
hate to have them take out the trees.
Yeah, for sure. But I do lean toward thinking it's a planning commission amendment to the ordinance.
Okay,
What do you think, Ray?
Oh, I think a bunch of things. Well, let's run them down real quick here. The problem is they have to meet all 6. Even if they met all 6, as we say, it's just barely. And I will remind you, after it goes to the planning commission, it will come in front of the council. And they're not. They're very by the book, especially when it comes to that corridor. Sign ordinance has been gone over and over and over. We've been over that site, the whatever that's called over there, country market site, over and over and over. I have a couple letters. The letters I got that I saw mainly were for the were persons that actually lived in Dexter Crossing. So stating that it will increase your visibility to Dexter Crossing while I have residents opposing it is a null and void for me. I don't believe there is a true practical difficulty. It's a perceived inconvenience. No, those are harsh words. It doesn't matter. I have to be able to say and stand behind what I say in case it goes in front of a court. We are quasi judicial. That means after this process is expended, if you don't believe with what we want or you disagree with us, you are free to go to court, and I will have to defend my decision based on this 6 criteria. Substantial justice, that goes back to sending it back to planning so that everybody could abide by that, because I can see it falling like a line of dominoes, and we don't want that. We're trying to control that. There's not an extraordinary circumstance. It's just the way it is. And there was nothing. In addition, they also get a separate standalone sign, which nobody else does. So you need to consider to take that into cooperation. Relationship, and I can understand the differences between the various signs on the 4 corners. However, those were all put in at 4 different times. We did that corridor study basically a little bit later than we should have, but when we found a standard that we thought was definable and enforceable, that's what we applied. The sign ordinance just didn't pop up. It's been there's a file. There's been an ongoing fight for well over 25 years since I've been in council or involved in the city. This is nothing new. Let's see, I'll give you no safety hazard. It's there. If you can't make one, you can't make any. And I'm sure I can back up at least 2 or 3, and I'm not gonna nitpick through the other ones. But what I found was particularly interesting was this letter from Mr. Mike G. I guess that's a youth thing there, no last name. United States Sign Council. It tries to give the impression that it's a US government situation. This is a sign council thing, and I'm sure as we all have requirements that we wish to put to the front, that's what this does, and that's nothing against them. That's their business, but I don't follow USSC guidelines. I follow the city of Dexter guidelines. And that's based on their zoning ordinance. So I would have a very, very difficult time even moving this forward. If you guys wish to present it to the planning commission, I won't object. I think by the time they get to it though, and by the time these people need an answer, it's going to be a long, maybe 6, 8 months down the road. I don't want to hold them up on that. I believe they're going to be a destination spot. I believe their sign out front will be more than adequate. I believe it's 40 miles an hour through there, and I believe most people use Google Maps. So there's nobody gonna be driving down there 40 miles out from the city of Pickney and go, hey, shit. That ain't gonna happen. They're either coming or they ain't coming. The people in town will know they're there, just like they know the Chinese restaurants there, just like they know Cello's there, just like they know Jets is there.
The food zone has survived a long time without any way for anyone to know it's a Chinese restaurant.
It's,
but they've already
it's
got it.
word of mouth, but that's based on this request, I must decline.
I would say our standards, monetary standards that we're gonna probably have to uphold inside the building are gonna be a little bit greater than the food zone aesthetic standards and the cost of operating everything.
That's either here nor there. I'm here to discuss signage.
Jason, I'm sorry, but only when the chair asks you if it's okay to speak, then,
Sorry,
then,
Chip.
then you can speak.
I'm
Or if
just,
you ask the chair if it's okay for you to speak.
I'm sorry.
As you've learned by now, I don't know what I'm doing, so.
Where is the monument sign gonna be located? Is it off of Harrington? Is that what this is?
No, so it'll be on
Harrington?
Dexter and Everett's. It's where the Noble sign was.
Oh,
On the curb extension?
Out
there,
by
I
the
can-
road.
Yeah.
probably
By the
where you
road, yeah.
initially come in.
No. It's separate sign
This
and
one?
it was,
What's that say?
Noble Appliance.
Oh, I thought it was on Ann Arbor Street.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it is.
No, that's Carrington.
Yeah,
This
but-
here is Carrington.
But their
Yeah,
sign
it's,
was on the Dexter and Arbor, or at least it was at
the
one
main?
point. Noble.
It's like, it was offset a bit. Here, let me see if we can even find it.
And there might have been one on Carrington, I don't know, but there was definitely one up by the street. And it was separate from the main, big one, or the main one.
Keep going, keep past Carrington right there, keep going.
Right
See it
there.
right
There it is, yeah.
So it'll have, it can be up to 6 feet high. 42 square feet on each side. And it'll have both tenants' names. Again, if they apply for it. They don't have to apply for it, but they're allowed it.
And what's the max on that? 42?
Yeah,
42 square
6
feet,
feet high,
6 feet high.
So 42 on each side or 21 and 21?
42 on each side, I believe.
42 on each side.
Can you do multicolor?
Mhm.
I think they should do all their colors that they want. There's nothing in the ordinance about colors. The monotone gray hides it. Just my opinion.
Oh,
but-
I don't care about the colors either, really. I mean,
My comment would be that, and I said this last time, I think the color helps you a lot. And there's no reason not to put it up in the parapet, but it can't be large in the parapet, any larger than what's allowed. And to me, it would make it more visible at a smaller size if it is in color. I like it that way myself. I know others may not, but I do.
Mm.
I was perhaps led you a little astray at the last meeting relative to my comments, and I am totally sympathetic because the farther you are from any road, the more important it is that your sign be larger, but that's an ordinance question. And I do think it'll be interesting if we bring it back to planning commission. I think we will, not this particular application, but the idea that perhaps there's some leeway in sign size based on the distance from the road. And for instance, when you're downtown, there's no way that there can be any leeway on that because you're right on the street. But when you are further from the street, then I am sympathetic to what you're saying. And I was back when the Dollar Tree one came to us, then it wasn't approved either. But it was the same question. We want it larger. We're further from the street, and we couldn't do it then. And as you know, at the last meeting, everybody voted no and I voted yes. And from my perspective, that was probably an error. So anyway, that's basically my comment that let me ask you something, Jenna, what if it goes to planning commission, the sign size, not this one, but just the ordinance allows something bigger. Can they or anyone else come back based on the new ordinance and increase the size of their sign?
Well, I mean, not through the ZBA.
No.
But
no.
yeah, through an application, of course, they would be able to then apply to whatever
Yeah, okay.
I mean, they haven't applied, they have applied, but we haven't accepted any money for like a actual sign permit.
right,
So yeah, of course.
okay. So, do we have anything else here? Do we want to put it to a vote?
Mr. Chair, could I speak and say something if you approve?
Yes, go ahead.
Please go to the microphone though.
Go ahead. So I respect all of your opinions and decisions that you are going to make. And I think I understand, or I have a feeling of the decision that you guys are going towards. And in following what the ordinance says, I would say this is a variance request. And I believe my points show that in this particular instance, a variance should be granted, in my opinion. In regards to being, successful, in comparing to the Dollar Tree or the other businesses around, some of the things when I look at is it's me and her, this is my fiance, we don't want another country market. We don't want another Noble Appliance. We don't want to not have money to be able to maintain as the residents emailed, they don't maintain the landscape. It looks run down. And the only way to do that is to be able to ensure a successful business. Now, I agree with you. Initially, we are going to have a lot of people say, finally, something is here. But Dexter is only 6,000 people. We need to be able to pull from outside. Now, Dollar Tree is a publicly traded company. They did $16.7 billion in revenue, and they were $100 million in ad spend. Trinity Health, an organization, you can look up public records. They did $23.9 billion in revenue and spent $57 million in advertising. If we can do those numbers, I wouldn't be here. We're not going to do those. And we need any help we can get, because this is not just a one-time thing. Last time, Catherine, you brought up is, what if we move out? And who gets to take over that sign? I wanted to speak at that point and said, we move, I'm done. This is our commitment. Everything we have put into this building, into this build out, is our funds. We are here to not just come here and say, we want a bigger sign, and then we want to move. And then whoever gets the sign, lucky for them that we did all the work. We are here to try to stay in Dexter, to turn this rundown entrance into Dexter to something better. And yes, I understand it will go against all the ordinances. I understand it may not be what you guys have done in the past, but that is why this is a variance request. And I would say that we are committed to Dexter. I would ask that Dexter's committed to us to help us get there. And if we need to go, get this variance and then need to go to the planning commission because other people may want it and we need to review this, I would ask that this be allowed to go through because I am going to be here. I want to be here, but I need the help as well. I don't have millions of dollars in publicly traded funds to be able to go spend and bring customers in. I have to rely on word of mouth. I have to rely on other means that monetarily I can't afford to spend.
Thank you.
And that would be my last statement.
Okay.
So, thank you.
And I appreciate it. Now, one of the things that we have to deal with here is not whether or not it's what we feel would be best for you. There are 6 different pieces of criteria that you have to meet. Back in the day, it was only 1, if I understand it, but all 6 of these: practical difficulty, substantial justice, extraordinary circumstance, relationship to the adjacent property, fire safety or whatever that one is that I'm not looking at right now. And I don't know what the other one, but it's 6 of them. So if any one of them we disagree with, then we can't approve what you're offering. So your burden is, and you've made a good attempt. I mean, that's what you responded to each one of them. But in every case, or in most of these cases, there are still issues that we differ with. And I say we, it's staff and ourselves as well. So in essence, we just can't do it. And I'd really love to be able to, but
We all feel that way.
yeah, if, given, Ray expressed exactly what the case is. If we deviate from what we're required to, then we're in we're not in a good position. So is there anything else that needs to be said here?
Yeah, I mean, it's not about how deserving they are. I think they're very deserving, but
Absolutely.
it's about the rules.
Yeah,
Um,
which, who knows, could be changed. In fact, I will speak with planning. And we'll talk about it as far as bringing it for, not your case, but bringing the whole sign ordinance question back to planning commission, which might benefit you down the road. I don't know. I expect you're going to be here for a long time. I'm very confident you're going to be very successful. So
One question. Will a denial of this variance request change your mind about moving into Dexter still? Will you reconsider your whole plan
So,
because of that?
if it's thousands of dollars, then I don't think anyone would. I'm forced to.
You're forced to do nothing. You are forced to do what you want to do.
Well, I have to operate no matter what. because
Understood.
I'm financially tied to it.
Understood. And that's why
That's why this is so important.
it's important, but at the same time, it's important to me. Well, this is important to you and to your business, and maybe even that whole strip mall, or maybe even that whole strip of road. I must enforce this sign across the whole city. And so everyone's looking for their niche, their head up, their hand up, their foot up, their step up. I am sympathetic. However, it's almost impossible for you to reach all 6 of these. And I'm being fairly easy going right now. I know there's people on council that would just be flipping their lid right now. Because they're so rigid and they fought for their sign ordinance, and this is a touchy subject between not just council people and planning commission people, but the residents. This is, you can see the diversity, 4 letters, 2 and 2, right down the middle too, residents, business. So with that in mind, and with great regret, I must vote no.
Can someone first make a motion?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is someone interested in making a motion here?
Made the last one.
I made the last one, it's somebody else's turn.
Fuck. All right, Jana, what do I gotta do? You gonna do it?
In consideration of the information provided by staff in the following public hearing conducted by the Zoning Board of Appeals on April 21st, 2025, the Zoning Board of Appeals determines that the application for zoning variance PZBA 25-0000-02 for 7001 Dexter Ann Arbor Road, Tenant B, 080808-200-013, which is parcel ID, I'm assuming, does not meet the criteria required for granting the requested variance for an 89 square foot, where a 42 square foot maximum sign is allowed by the zoning ordinance pursuant to section 24.06 subsection A. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals does not grant the requested variance from section 7.05.A.2.B to allow for an 89 square foot building sign where the maximum of 42 feet is permitted for property located at 7001 Dexter Ann Arbor Road, Tenant B, parcel ID 080808-200-013. The determination was based on the following findings per section 24.06A of the City of Dexter zoning ordinance. And I'm assuming we're saying they didn't meet any of the 6 criteria.
Well, they met the 2 safety ones, but
One,
Want to
two,
read the conclusion, like, or not the entire conclusion, just, I mean, if that's what you determine are the items that were not met.
I mean, like number 1 practical difficulty.
yes,
Right. And extraordinary circumstance. We use those 2.
just so you know, you need to address all of them. So substantial justice would be the second one.
Okay,
The third one is, public safety and welfare.
why is my
Well,
missing-
no, that one, you
Yeah.
think it does meet, right?
It does,
yeah, we felt that it
so we
met
just,
3 and
we don't
5.
even include it all, so.
Well,
it
So
does-
just,
Probably 1, 2, 4.
yeah, you just need to include the ones that do not meet.
Okay. And then the third one would be extraordinary circumstances, and
And the 4th is relationship to adjacent land uses.
that's correct.
For a second,
Yes, is there someone here that wants to second this?
Second,
All right. All in favor?
Yeah,
Oh, this is
like-
gonna be a
let's do it a voice.
voice vote, right?
Ray Tell,
No to deny.
vote does not meet and does not grant, so.
It's a yes.
so are we saying
If
whether we
yes-
agree with
Yes,
the
Yes.
with
motion?
regret.
Catherine Becker,
I agree with the motion.
Lisa Smerrick,
Yes,
and Chet Hill.
Unfortunately, yes.
But do your colors.
So the motion passes.
Yes, the map, sorry. Forgot that part. Yes, the motion passes 4-0. That the variance does not meet, and that it's not granted.
All right. Is there any other business beyond this?
Yeah.
Well, one
Okay.
thing,
What's that?
you gonna bring that up to planning commission by relooking at zoning order?
I will
sign?
talk to the planners for the city to put it on the next agenda.
I haven't looked at the zoning ordinance in a while, I gotta be imagining it's two
Just, you
hundred
know,
pages.
Chet's our representative of the planning commission. He sits on that board as well. That's why we're all looking to him.
As I say. As little as I know about anything.
Not true.
So, okay, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second,
That'll do it.
Scared me, Chet.
Once in a while I use that, I remember to use that.